everybody. Welcome to the Steady Steps podcast. My name's Brian Volpone, and I honestly can't tell you how thrilled I am that you took the time to listen to this. Because several people in my family have a history of drug and alcohol addiction, I love hearing these dramatic stories of people recovering from drug abuse and alcohol abuse, seeing hopeless lives put back together, families reclaimed. It honestly doesn't cease to thrill me. And as a Christian, I feel the same way when I hear these dramatic stories of lives changed by Christ. But as amazing as those stories are, that can fool us into thinking that big, dramatic, colossal changes are how we turn our lives around. And actually, the opposite is true. In fact, shooting for those big changes can actually be very counterproductive. So today, let's talk about why small changes matter. Not because they're cute or trendy, but because they are effective. I'll give you a picture to start this out. Imagine you're flying from California to Hawaii. That's about 2,400 miles. If you're off by 1 degree when you leave the coast, that doesn't end up being just a little bit off by the time the trip is over. So if you're off by 1 degree at takeoff, you wouldn't even notice that. That's about the width of a car. But mile by mile, that angle adds up. And by the time you fly to Hawaii, you wouldn't miss it by a few feet. You would miss the island by over 40 miles. 40 miles because of one small trajectory problem. The reason is because small deviations matter when they're sustained. But here's the really beautiful thing. Small corrections, they have incredible power to change our lives. Our lives drift or transform because of small intentional choices. And that's what today's episode is all about. So let's dive into that now.
You know that feeling, right? You look like some part of your life, maybe health, career, something, and you just know something needs to change, like a big change. So you make this huge, ambitious plan, all or nothing. You feel that rush of motivation.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes maybe.
Exactly. And then boom, overwhelmed, like staring up at this massive mountain, and you just freeze. Can't even take the first step.
It's incredibly common.
Right.
And that feeling of being stuck, it often leads straight to burnout or, just giving up before you even really begin.
Right. But what if?
Yeah.
What if the problem isn't you or the goal? What if it's the approach? Thinking too big, maybe.
Well, that's where things get interesting, actually, because the real power, the thing you're looking for, it might not be in that giant leap. It might be hiding in something much, much smaller. Deliberate, but small.
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Small steps, like intentional little actions being the key to these huge life changes that feel totally impossible right now. So, okay, our deep dive today is really into that. Why do these tiny, deliberate actions actually work so well? And what really happens when you stick with them?
Well, think about it. When we try to fix everything all at once, our brain kind of looks at the sheer scale of it and just short circuits. It's decision fatigue plus just the feeling of no way.
Yeah, that mountain just looks completely unclimbable. So why bother even walking to the base, right?
Exactly. You don't approach it.
Makes total sense. Thinking, I'm going to completely overhaul my diet tomorrow or write a whole book this month. It sounds great for a second.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory. But the gap between here and there is just vast. And that's what triggers the paralysis. That's where the burnout starts creeping in.
And that's precisely what these small intentional steps are designed to fight against. We're not talking about just like random little things, though. The key word is deliberate.
Deliberate, okay.
They're chosen specifically because they line up with that bigger change you actually want.
Okay. So maybe you can't face cleaning the whole house today. That feels like too much. But you can spend, say, 5 minutes just tidying one little corner.
Yes. Or you can't master French overnight.
Right. But maybe learn 5 new words. Just 5.
Exactly. Or you can't instantly become a morning person with a 2-hour routine. But maybe just for tomorrow, you decide to get up 10 minutes earlier.
Gotcha. So these aren't just tiny tasks for the sake of it. They're specific moves, chosen steps in a direction you actually want to go.
Precisely. And what's really cool is understanding why these seemingly tiny things pack such a punch. A big piece of it is something called the progress principle.
Progress principle.
It basically says that one of the strongest motivators we have as humans is the feeling of making forward progress. any progress.
Okay, so feeling like you're moving forward is key. But what's happening, like inside us, when we manage even that tiny win,
Yeah.
that 5 minutes of tidying, there's brain chemistry involved, right?
Oh, absolutely. When you complete that small intentional step, you get up 10 minutes earlier, you write that one paragraph, whatever it is, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine.
Ah, dopamine, the reward chemical.
That's the one. Pleasure, motivation.
Yeah.
It acts like a really powerful reinforcement signal.
So successfully doing the tiny thing literally rewards your brain. And your brain goes, ooh, that felt good. Let's do that again.
Pretty much, which naturally makes it easier to repeat the behavior. And that is how you start building a new habit. Each small step isn't just getting a task done.
It's also building the want to do it again. Interesting.
And think about it over time. Consistently taking these steps, it gives you hard evidence, proof that you can follow through.
Right, you start believing it.
Exactly. It builds what psychologists call self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to hit your goals. Those small wins stack up, they strengthen your confidence, and suddenly that huge mountain.
It seems a little less huge because you've already been climbing step by step.
You've proven you can take steps, yeah.
It's kind of like each little action is a vote, isn't it? Like every time you choose that small intentional thing that lines up with who you want to be, meditating for 2 minutes, drinking that water, reading one page, you're casting a vote for that future version of yourself.
That's a great way to put it. And consistently casting those votes, it doesn't just change what you do, it starts to rewire how you actually see yourself. You shift from, I wish I was someone who does X, to eventually, I am someone who does X. Small steps are basically the engine of identity change.
Wow. Okay. So if you're listening and feeling totally swamped by some big goal, the message is you don't need some massive wave of motivation or perfect detailed plan to start.
Not at all.
You can start right now with something small, something deliberate, something you can achieve today. Just focus on that one tiny step, do it intentionally, and then this is important, maybe acknowledge that you did it. Give yourself that little win.
Feed that feedback loop, yes.
Yeah.
That steady, intentional movement. That's the antidote to feeling paralyzed. It's the reliable way to make changes that actually stick. It's all about building momentum through consistency, not some unsustainable burst of intensity.
Okay, so let's wrap up this deep dive. To beat overwhelm, don't think bigger, think smaller, but more intentionally.
Right.
These deliberate little actions use your own brain chemistry, that dopamine hit, to build habits and confidence.
And they create real forward momentum, undeniable proof you're moving.
And remember that idea. Every tiny step you take is like a deliberate vote for the person you're becoming. So here's something to think about. What's one single, maybe seemingly insignificant step you could take today? Something that really aligns with a bigger direction you want for your life. And just take a second to imagine the quiet but unstoppable force you'd create if you just kept taking that one small step, day after day after day.
That's really good stuff. The big takeaway is that the best approach to accomplishing your goals isn't necessarily to aim huge. It's small, consistent, intentional choices with heavy emphasis on intentional. You don't need to be on a perfect path. You just need to stay aware and then be willing to adjust. Think about this. When NASA launched Apollo 11, their path to the moon wasn't flawless at all. They were actually off course, get this, 97% of the time. But they made it because they kept correcting. And that's what matters in life too. Not perfection, just the willingness to adjust over and over and over again. This concept has been revolutionary for me. And if you'll let me be transparent for a moment, I'd like to give you a real-life practical example of how I had to put this into practice recently. When I started this podcast, I had these grandiose dreams of some sort of slick, professionally produced podcast with beautiful sound and amazing content, even though I'd never done anything like this before. And then came episode 1. The sound quality was honestly really bad. I tried tweaking and remixing, and I wasn't getting anywhere. I was looking at re-recording everything, but then that meant remixing everything, which had already taken me forever because I didn't know what I was doing. And so effectively, I was stuck. I didn't have anywhere to go. Instead of fixing it or publishing it, I just kept puttering around the edges. I kept rearranging things and tweaking and testing and anything but actually finishing. The truth was I wasn't making it any better. I was just avoiding the fact that it didn't meet my own standards. Our daughter Katie often reminds us that done is better than perfect. And that really resonated. I wasn't going to magically make this flawless, but I could hit publish. I was reminded that even if I felt like I was settling, I had to release episode 1 so that episode 2 could even exist, and so I did. I released episode 1 knowing it wasn't ideal, which is a very nice way of saying it, because if you've listened to that episode, you know that it does not sound good, but it was a start, and that was my steady step. It wasn't polished, but it was real, and it was moving forward. So what's one small intentional thing you can do today? Just one step, one little change, clean one shelf, make one better decision. You're building a life, and every small steady step counts. If you like what you're hearing, or this has been helpful, please share it with somebody else. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe, and please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. See you next time, guys. Take that steady step.
You've been listening to the Steady Steps podcast, thoughtful moments and practical insights to help you walk a more intentional path. This show is written and produced by Brian Volpone with M1016 Productions. Our theme music is generated with Mubert. AI voice performances and discussions are supported by Notebook LM, Gemini, and ChatGPT. You can learn more, listen to past episodes, or get in touch at steadystepspodcast.com or email us at any time at steps@steadystepspodcast.com. Thanks for listening and keep taking steady steps.